legislative report. I'm State Representative Mario Scavello. Recently, I had the pleasure of visiting the Silver Arrow gift shop on their grand reopening, and such a unique little store, and everything was made either in Pennsylvania or here in the United States. And I felt, what a great idea, and why not do a show about the local artists here within Monroe County and this community. So my guests today are Robert and Joan Schramm. Joan, I have to tell you, from the minute I walked into your place, I says, wow, I got to do something here, let people know the unique things that you have here. First, what gave you the idea to do such a store of this type?
Well, Mario, I got kind of frustrated working out in the business world, and 20 years ago, with Bob working full-time, I was able to do something that was a dream. And I had always wanted to work first with Native Americans and then with artists. Mm-hmm. And we just started working with jewelers, and it just kept expanding and growing. And like Topsy, we went from little shows to a full-blown store 20 years ago.
And you still do some shows, I'm assuming?
Yes, we do some shows, and we do Native American powwows, because about half of our merchandise is done by Native Americans from all over the country.
Wow. Bob, how did you get into the jewelry business? I know you have a long history. Tell us first about your background.
I was with Joan working with the silver jewelry and everything, and then when I retired, I was invited by the Navajo to learn how to repair Native American jewelry. Oh. I studied under 12 or 13 Navajo silversmiths, and I now do total repair of Native American jewelry and silver work. And I do my own work with beads mm-hmm. and turquoise.
Mm-hmm. This is all yours?
Yeah.
Wow.
Most anything that he makes is one of a kind, mm-hmm. with whatever materials, natural materials. We work basically in gemstones, semi-precious stones, and we do a lot of custom work.
Yes,
you know.
Absolutely.
Not only jewelry, but you have a tremendous, I'm looking around the shop, a lot of Native American items here. Again, do you do that as well, or is that made by the
That's made by the native artists. We travel out to the reservations as often as we can, and we buy from the artist direct, and then we bring it back here to sell it to the general public.
What a great idea. So, how did you get involved in this? Like, was it Joan's idea? Because I know Joan. How did you decide to put the store here in Tannersville on Route 611?
It's well, for a while there we had it up in Memory Town.
Okay.
And then we came to 611. We met increasingly more and more artists, local artists, mm-hmm. more and more native artists that are local here mm-hmm. as well. And it's just a way to give back to the community by presenting their art, and it's new and unique.
Yet there is a tremendous amount of talented people living here in Monroe County, a tremendous amount of artists. Now, I've been in office 10.5 years, and in my office I have an art gallery. Mm-hmm. And every month a local artist puts up her art, or his art, for show. And in 10.5 years, I've had a different artist every month for 10.5 years.
Great.
So it just goes to show you the talent, and they're all one piece is better than the other. Sometimes I end up buying a couple of the pieces.
You're not alone.
Yeah, but that's that's how. Is it difficult to? I'm assuming it is. Now you're going to say it's easy, but I'm looking at it. I'm saying no, it's not. It's difficult.
It is difficult when you first get started, but mm-hmm. as you progress, I have a silversmith that we work with out in the reservation, mm-hmm. and in a very short period of time, he can make a full bracelet, like 3 or 4 hours, and have it ready to sell. Wow! Because he does it all the time. Mm-hmm. The more you do it, practice makes perfect.
Yeah, I've heard that before. Yes. How can someone contact you, for example, if they wanted a special piece, let's see, an emerald, whatever, how could they reach out to you? Outside of just coming to the store, do you have a website? Or no?
Yes.
You do have a website?
Yeah, we have a website, but if you're talking about a custom piece, you really are going to have to come in, and we're going to have to sit with you to look at the type of materials you want in it, what's available, You know, they can contact us through the website, they can contact us through email, and we can make, when we're doing custom work, we like to have a specific appointment. Okay. And custom work can be done by just about every artist that we have in the gallery. And almost all of them have the ability to come in and meet with you. We have a few in Pennsylvania that aren't, you know, in the immediate area, but for the most part, they can come in and meet with you. And
that's great.
You know, we encourage people to come and meet the artists. We try to have programs. We've had Meet the Artist evenings so that people can come in and, you know, just talk to the artist and see what they have here. Because the size of the store doesn't allow us to put in a great deal of any one individual artist. So we try to get them to rotate the merchandise as well.
Well, for a little quaint shop here, you have a tremendous amount of variety. You know, you do, and you know, I was back in the supermarket business, and you know, they were saying that you paid rent for the ceiling, and you definitely are right there to the ceiling.
We use the ceiling. We use the floor to the ceiling. You know, I try to get as wide a variety of talent that the artists have and what they're making. To give as much variety as we can for choices. I like to try to say that we basically have something for everybody in all age ranges and in all prices.
What we usually look for, even among the Native American, is what's unique, one of a kind, unusual.
Yeah, that's great, because the uniqueness is what brings, I think, people here, knowing that you're going to come here. You're going to be able to see something that you're not going to find anywhere else.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
That's exactly it.
And the plus is it's made either here, in Pennsylvania, or in the United States. Isn't that nice? Made in America.
Yep.
So we talked about your website earlier, and you want to give your website, and we'll also hear it on the screen.
The website is www.silver-arrow-gallery.com.
Okay. How many artists in total in the area do you have? I know you had a pottery.
There's about a dozen Pennsylvania artists in here. And then when you go to your Native Americans, I probably have 30 or 40. It just depends on who's got what out at the time that we're shopping.
And of the artists, how many are here in PA? I know there's two that are going to be in the show later on.
There's about a dozen in Pennsylvania.
A dozen,
yeah.
And in Monroe? I'm going to bring it even further.
Out of Monroe County, there's probably 10 right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's nice.
My focus is the Poconos and Monroe County. We're trying to expand the artists up in that area.
Absolutely.
And people who have something that they're hand making that might want to, you know, be considered, can just call the gallery, and we'll make an appointment to meet with them.
Okay. That's great. That's great. What else can we tell me about the store? The uniqueness.
Well, I think that the store kind of tells a story. Because of the type of art that we have in here, it really gives you a picture of what is available to American shoppers by American people. You don't necessarily see that in your big commercial locations because they can't do the one-on-one.
Yeah.
We're unique because we do a lot of good customer service. We do a lot of one-on-one with our customers. You can come in and wander for as long as you want. We can give you background information not only on the artists, but like with the Native American merchandise, a lot of them have stories and meaning. And we can give you those stories. We can kind of educate you. So my teacher training is still coming in there. We kind of used to say if you came to the store, it was an educational experience. You know, and that's kind of what we enjoy doing, is that one-on-one interaction with people.
That's great. Well, it's been a real pleasure meeting with you, Bob, and we're going to continue on with Joan in a moment. You've been watching Legislative Report, and Legislative Report will return in a moment.
Did you know the Avenue of Flags presentation at Indiantown Gap National Cemetery has over 500 casket flags? Among the flags displayed are Commonwealth, territorial, and military flags. The flags are tied to 20-foot poles spaced 40 feet apart on both sides of the main drive of the cemetery. It takes about 2 hours to set up and take down all of the flags. Volunteers are encouraged to help with this task and must be at least 13 years of age. All of the flags are donated to the Avenue of Flags by families of the deceased. Now you know.
Welcome back to Legislative Report. In this segment, my guest is Dr. Joan Bush. And Joan, you have a tremendous story to tell. And if you don't mind, before we get into the artwork and the stuff that you do here at the shop, tell your story. You're the first?
I was the first girl in the state of Pennsylvania that played on a boys' sport team. And it happened to be baseball because our little small school, that's all we had was baseball. And one Sunday morning, in fact, it was Easter sunrise service, I was sitting there with my dad, and he leaned over and said, "How would you like to play baseball in a boys' team?" Well, I didn't hear anything else that went on in church. But anyhow, I ended up playing that year for our high school team. I was an outfielder, and I was a freshman. And there were 2 freshmen that made the baseball team, and we did quite well.
Wow.
And that kind of launched a career that I've had with playing baseball. I ended up playing for the Hagerstown Mollies, which was a semi-pro team. And I got a letter one day that all it said was, "Miss Bush, girl baseball player, Martinsburg, Pennsylvania." Wow. And I played with them for 3 or 4 years during the summer while I was going to college.
So were you too young to play in the... Yeah.
Yes, I missed that part. I was probably about 5 or 6 years too young from any of them, but I did learn to know several of them.
Yeah.
In fact, a couple of them were in this particular area.
The All-American Girls Baseball
The All-American
team.
Girls Baseball team. And I was with them the year that they were inducted in the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Wow.
I was they were honored by our state association for their contribution to women's sports, and I was at that particular convention. And it was fantastic meeting some of these people. They looked like they could go out there and play, and this was back in the 90s.
Wow.
Yes, wow. Yes. It was fun to meet those folks.
It was a great movie. I saw the movie.
It was good.
And later on, you stayed in athletics. You actually coached girls softball at the college?
I was the girls softball coach here at East Stroudsburg University for 13 years. And I was that. I was the head of the department. I did all kinds of neat things at East Stroudsburg for those 20 years.
God bless.
Yeah.
God bless.
Yeah.
And then you retire and you start to pick up a hobby.
Like somebody said, "What are you going to do when you retire?" And I said, "Well, after I clean my house, I don't know what." But anyhow, I had done some watercolor painting, and I really liked that. And then after that, one of my teachers that I liked down in Florida, well, she died. So I was walking around the art studio down there looking for something to do, and I found the pottery studio back in the back, and I asked Walter, who was the teacher, "Do you teach beginners?" And he said, "That's the kind of people I love. They don't have any bad habits."
Good.
So I started there, and then I found a teacher up here, and so I've been doing pottery for about 10, 11 years, something like that. Yeah.
I was looking at some of the pieces, very unique. Where do you get the idea for the piece that you do?
Well, my teacher up here said to me, "If you're going to keep into this, do something that you like. Find something unique that you feel that's your very own." And I saw where she had done a piece of taking her grandmother's crochet work. So I asked her if she minded if I would sort of do the same thing. So I took an original piece of my mom's crochet work. It was a doily she had done when she was quite young. And I impressed that into the clay. So I do what I call Mom's Lace, and it's a tribute to her. She was 103 years old when she died this summer. And so this is all kind of a tribute to her. In fact, even at her funeral, I gave out little pieces of my little tea bag holders that had the lace imprinted into it as a tribute to her, and my sister put 3 Hershey Kisses in that.
Oh, wow.
So we had something that was specially for Mom.
I saw one of your pieces, and it's like a soap dish, and the suds are there, and I'm looking to touch, and it looks like, it really looks like the real suds. It's right behind me. I couldn't believe it. I said, "Look at this,"
What happens, it's the way that the glazes kind of go in and out, the impressions that you put into the clay. And it's fun because you open up the kiln after you do this, and you don't know what you're going to find.
Right.
I mean, you do know what you're going to find, but you can't tell what the colors are going to be and how those glazes are going to go together and so on. And that's what's unique about that.
I looked at some of the photos that you have of your work, and we're going to air them. We're going to show them while we're speaking. But you've got some unique stuff there, really great. And are they all basically Mom's items? Did you follow Mom a little bit with some of these other items, or?
No, most of the dishes, in fact, I would say about half of the dishes that I use, I have used one of her original dishes as a mold for it.
As a mold. Okay.
And then the things that are thrown, like my carved tree vessels, as I call them, every one of those is individual because I draw each one of them, you know, for every one that I do, I draw it. So no two of them are alike because I'm not good enough to do two of them alike.
But you know what, that, again, if somebody purchased one of your pieces, they're not going to find that anywhere else.
That's what I tell them.
The uniqueness, if it's in your home and you can say this is one of a kind.
Oh, they definitely are.
Yeah.
They definitely are, right.
How long have you lived in Monroe?
I've been here almost 40 years now.
Wow.
So you
can
almost call me a native.
No. 40 years, God bless.
Almost, yeah.
So if somebody wanted a special piece, I guess you'd meet here at the store, or how do you?
This is what we would do. I would come over to Joan, and we would meet and talk about it, because I've done about 6 or 7 different families where I've said, if you have some unique piece that you would like embedded into the clay, I could do this for you.
Nice. Want to talk about a little bit about the work that you do guys together, promoting each other? I noticed you talked about you had a show out in Harrisburg.
We participated in the Christmas gift show out in Harrisburg, the 5-day show that was after Thanksgiving. And I will take work of all of the artists, depending on the show we're doing, what the market is. We'll take work there. Joan will come in. She's taught classes here that we've had, as well as done demonstrations. You know, at one point we actually had enough space. We had her pottery wheel in here, and she demonstrated throwing pottery. Anything that we can do to promote the artist and educate people about their work. One key to Joan's pottery, which you don't find everywhere, is everything is microwave, dishwasher safe, and food safe. Wow. So everything can be used. You don't have to worry about, you know, the glazes or any of that kind of, you know, thing.
Now you have an oven at your? How do you bake?
I have a kiln at home.
A kiln at home.
Right, and my brother-in-law came up several years ago and said, "Let's convert your garage into a studio," and he came up for about 2 weeks. And he did a fantastic, and he was also an art teacher. So he's kind of been my backup in terms of, Joe, what do you think of this? And he'll go through
that's
the
nice.
whole thing.
That's
nice. Give me a critique. Yeah.
Any other shows that you could talk about that you've attended outside of the one up in Harrisburg?
That we haven't done as many. We've done more powwows this year.
Okay.
We haven't really found that many that are the gift shows locally.
And Joan, do you do classes, pottery? Do you?
No,
you don't.
No, I really don't. Right.
Okay.
I would.
Well, I figured the teacher and you would never lose that. You know?
No, I haven't, and I've had some friends come over to the house, and we've played in the clay.
Yeah.
But I have to do it that way because I don't have enough facilities to do something like that. It's really a one-person studio. Yeah.
But it's obvious that you enjoy what you do.
I love it.
Yeah.
I really do. Like I said, I needed something to keep me off the streets after I retired, and I sure have found it.
I have to tell you, like I said earlier, and I know I'm being repetitive, I walked in here on the day that we had that grand reopening, and I saw some of your stuff, and I just, wow, this is just unbelievable. And the soap dish really got me because I'm over here trying to pick up and it's real life. It looks just real, you know?
Yeah. Thank you.
I think what's also incredible, Mario, is the price ranges that these people have. I mean, most of my artists, you can buy handmade, one-of-a-kind things for under $50.
Wow.
And there are things in here, handmade, even as Joan does, that are under $10.
Wow.
And you know, you're getting the quality, you're getting the uniqueness, and you're getting quite a wide variety of prices.
And you're supporting a local Monroe County resident, and absolutely great.
Yeah, that's the game.
Well, Joan, thank you for visiting
thank you
me.
for being here. This is neat.
Thank you. My guests in this section is Joan Schramm and Joe Michonski. Joe has some unique furniture in here, and I met Joe. I believe you were one of the first I met here at Silver Arrow.
Yes.
And I started. I said, "You made this?" I said, "Wow!" And it's absolutely beautiful furniture.
Thank you.
Joe, how did you get into this first? How did you start making furniture?
When I retired about 10 years ago from corporate life, and I had built a barn and a house before that, and I decided I wanted to get into woodworking, and I wanted to be able to give people furniture that was not only eye-appealing but functional, so that they would have something for posterity.
It's unbelievable. You retire and you go into another field, just
Right.
just like Joan, Joan Bush, Dr. Bush. You want to talk about some of your stuff, because I know you don't have. There's no way you can bring all the furniture that you make here into the gallery. But why don't we talk about some of the unique stuff that you do make?
Well, I do a lot of things, and basically what I do is when people want something made, I usually go to their home or they come to my home.
Oh.
And I draw we discuss what they want, and I draw the blueprints. They look at the blueprints or the pictures, and then I make it from there. And I'll work in all the woods that are common to Pennsylvania, like oak, cherry, a black walnut, ash, or maple, and sassafras. And whatever they choose, whatever finish they choose, then we'll do it that way. And for the stain, what I normally would do is give you a piece of wood, and you go down to your local hardware store, wherever they sell the stain, and you apply the stain to the wood, and then you see which one it looks the best, and you tell me, then I apply it that way.
Oh, so they're pretty much a big part of what they want. So
Right.
what they're going to get is exactly
What they want.
what they're looking for.
And a lot of times people will looking for something, but they can't find the right dimensions.
Yeah.
So I can make it to their dimensions.
I was going to say that you went to their home, you're measuring where
Right.
that piece is going to go,
Right.
and you know that piece is going to fit. It's
It's
not
gonna
like you
fit.
have to move another piece of furniture to get
Right.
it in. So let's talk about some of the items. You have it's a mission bed.
Yeah, it's a bed that can either be made as a twin, a regular, or a queen size. It's all done with a jig where you put the slats in, you put the top on, and it can, like the three that I've made so far this year are been out of black walnut and maple, out of cherry, and then out of ash.
You know, sometimes you go buy a piece of furniture and the back is all, compressed cardboard.
Everything that I make is out of solid wood. The only time I would use plywood is to the bottom of a drawer or the back of a piece.
So everything you make, it's pretty heavy when you're delivering
Yes.
it.
It's heavy and it'll last forever.
Okay, you make a chest of drawers. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a three drawer chest, and it has a drawer that you pull out that has Formica on it, and you can either use that as a writing table or a hot plate. In other words, alongside of your bed.
Nice.
So you could put soup or a hot cup of coffee there.
Very nice. You have a china hutch.
Yeah, you can make one. It's made out of two pieces. It's normally made out of either cherry or oak. It has 6 drawers in it. And it has a top where you have 2 sections where you can put in plates. It has glass doors. And I usually use a 1/4-inch plate glass and beveled glass on it.
Nice. Cherry end table.
Yeah, it's about a 20-inch table. It's 18 inches tall. It's made all of solid cherry, and I try to use different hues of cherry so that you get the contrast between the legs and the top.
Nice, very nice. Sofa table.
That I make usually out of oak or cherry, and it goes behind your sofa to put plants on or a vase.
Now I was going to ask you that. Okay.
Or an entryway, like I have a black walnut one that has a lot of burl in it. That would be a nice entry piece.
As you come into a home,
Right.
Okay, very nice. Storage chest, I guess that's important. There's always.
Oh yeah, that's for something like in your back room where you want to sit down and you take your boots off. You open up the top, and in the bottom is slats, so that when you put your wet boots or your umbrella, they dry.
My favorite is the next one. You know what it is?
The Queen Anne table.
Well, yeah, there's another one after that, but give me the Queen Anne table first.
The Queen Anne table's got very unique legs, and
That's it.
The black walnut for the legs. The top and the sides are curly maple, which gives a very nice contrast. It's a very elegant piece.
Okay. My favorite, your wine
The wine
cabinet.
Wine cabinet. I make about 3 or 4 different versions of that. This one that we have here is 12 bottles in the pigeonholes, and the top is for glasses, where you can hang your glasses.
I'm looking at a photo. It's very nice. It really is different, and unique. Yeah, I bet you'd be very hard to find something like that in the store.
Actually, it's a modular design where I could either make that with the way you see it here with the 12 bottles, or for 24 bottles and the top with the glass, or I can put another cabinet on top where you can put in other types of things. So it can be, and it can also be made up into a buffet.
And you could also, of course, expand it if you need. You had a bigger variety of wines. Absolutely a beautiful stuff that you have, and you know, it's so unique. And what a story that you retire from a job and here you are.
Right, and all the construction I do is with joints, tongue and groove, or tenon and mortise.
Yeah.
So I don't use very many screws. And I want to make everything solid.
I took a look at some of the stuff that you have and how it's absolutely unbelievable. I was trying to, when you say you don't use screws, I was trying to figure out how you put this stuff together, and I see what you're saying.
On this particular one, there's a screw here, but the bottom is a joint where it goes through.
Oh, you covered it with the cap.
Right.
Okay. You covered it with a cap. Okay, very nice.
Or if you really wanted to do that, you could put a dowel in there.
That's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Okay. How long have you? It's 10 years now. You say?
10 years.
So just about Joan Bush,
right.
Dr. Bush, same thing. Talk about some of the other stuff that you do. How long does it take to do a piece? Let's say, for example, the bottle, the wine lovers.
That would take me about 3 to 4 weeks.
3 to 4 weeks.
And basically, that's because after I pick out the wood, I let it sit in my shop for about a week, week and a half to get accustomed to it. I buy only rough cut lumber, so I do all my own planing, my own edging, my own straightening, and then I glue it all up. I put it together, I stain it, and then, then I just let it sit and do the finishing.
How did you meet Joan? Joan, how did you meet? That's the story, I guess, huh?
Our son his son and my daughter went to the same college and ended up getting married.
Oh, okay.
So it becomes expanded family.
And I didn't know this. See how things expand? Small world.
Very
do they
small.
live in the area, or did they move away?
They're in Chambersburg.
Chambersburg. Okay,
Yeah,
well, that's
in
fine.
Chambersburg.
See, now I wasn't aware of that. So when you called me, because I talked, I was going to do
Right.
this show. He right away I said, could you get a hold of Joan? It's no problem. Family. I absolutely pleasure meeting with you, and like I said, and I've seen the quality that you have here and some of the other stuff that you've made, and I hope people take advantage of it. So in order to meet, to contact Joe, again, the same thing. They can call here, and you can have Joe here, and if you need to visit the house to see what you would need, what space you have, you can make something unique for the space.
Right.
Absolutely beautiful.
That's the advantage of custom work.
Yeah.
It can be made exactly the way they want it.
Then there's no surprises, but it's also quality. Today, you're not most of the stuff today gets made in other countries.
Most of it's made in China.
And I can tell you, Vietnam also.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff coming in from Vietnam now. But nice to see America. And I think that, with the gas industry moving here in Pennsylvania, the cost of the energy is going to be so much less. I think that manufacturing is going to start to grow here again in Pennsylvania because of the energy costs. And so to me, this all plays in together. And I thank you. First of all, Joan, for inviting me into your store here to do this unique show. It's different. It's different than anything I've done before. And Joe, is you as well, and the other guests. And I wish you the very best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Mario.
You've been watching Legislative Report. Any questions on the show that you've seen about the Silver Arrow gift shop, you can contact me at my local office. The address and phone number will be on the screen in a moment. And thanks again for watching Legislative Report.